Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Mark LaPlante. I'm here for Simplify CloudLab, the product that allows you to build, manage, and share your virtual environments easily and quickly. We're doing a customer spotlight series where we invite different customers of Simplify CloudLab to give us some tips and tricks, best practices, and different insights on how to best use Simplify CloudLab in their area of expertise, their domain. And with us today is John Malek from ConnectWise. John is the Senior Director of Quality Assurance at ConnectWise, responsible for all of QA across all of the products that ConnectWise has. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long have you been with ConnectWise, and what do you do there?
Sure, Mark. Thank you. I've been at ConnectWise a little over 10 years. I started out managing the actual ConnectWise managed product for quality assurance. And we had a team of 2 at the time. And we built up the team, and we now have a team for the managed product of a little over 10. But company overall, we have probably a little over 100 quality engineers that fall under quality assurance.
Great. So why don't you tell us a little bit about a day in the life of a quality assurance engineer using Simplify CloudLab? And by the way, if anyone wants to, if you're not sure what Simplify CloudLab is and you want to find out more information about it, go to speedoflightmedia.com and check out our demo videos there that go in a deep dive into exactly what it does. John, go ahead. There we go.
Okay, good. So here we have the running copy section of Simplify CloudLab. So what you see here is our environments that we use on a daily basis. We have about 7 or 8 environments that we use every day that we need to turn on every day. And the cool thing is we have this scheduler here. It loads, and we have a start time and a stop time. So basically, these are the times that we use all these environments, and that way we turn them on before we get in, so they're ready to go, and a little bit after we leave the office, so that they turn off. And there's a window there where we don't use these environments, so there's no reason to keep them running and spend the money on these environments running. So they are shut off. Fairly simple. And
that's a great way to keep your Amazon costs down.
Absolutely.
By not running those machines when they're not being used.
Absolutely. And what you see below there is our off running copies. And the difference between these two is the top, the on running copies are ones we use daily. The off running copies are copies we use maybe weekly, bi-weekly, or we use them a couple times a week, or whatever. It falls into the testing cycle. Okay, let me spin up my Australia environment here and do some testing. Okay, I'll hit the turn on button and I'll test. And let's say I go off and do other work. Oh, I forgot to turn it off. But the great thing is here, I have a stop time. So if I forget to turn it off, it turns off for me automatically at the end of the day.
Nice.
I can set that at any time I want to per my office hours or my working hours or whatever that may be. That way, these don't run 24/7, just churning up the dollars that we have to spend in AWS.
So you have an Australian environment. I guess I'm sure you have a US environment.
Right, we have a UK environment. Then we have others. You see these off. Like we test things with Server 2019 and Server 2016, SQL 2016, SQL 2017. Let's say we have a defect that comes in, and we say, okay, this certain defect. The IS server is on server 2019, the SQL server is on server 2016, and there is an Exchange 2019. So we can configure that and test with that here in Simplify CloudLab. We can put all that together. It's kind of like putting a puzzle together. We put it together, start it, and we're ready to test. And if we see like an ongoing issue with this, let's say we see 2 or 3 times we see the same issue, we won't change our on-running copies as we use on a daily basis. What we'll do, we'll keep an off-running copy and just use that as needed during our testing cycle to make sure that bug doesn't come up again. As you can see here, we have QA Auto. Those are our automation environments. We run a lot of automation on these as well, and those are the ones we'll actually configure automation to run for those certain types of bugs, and we'll configure the environments as such.
So you have machine images for all those different pieces, and kind of like Legos, you take the Exchange server that you need, the SQL server that you need,
correct,
the version of Manage that you need.
Yes, and when that comes into play, let's say, Windows puts Server 2022 out, for example, in the near future. Okay, we got to configure that environment and get that running. So the latest server will become our on-running copies, and Server 2019 become an off-running copy. We just run that through the testing cycle and make sure things work on maybe a bi-weekly basis.
Very nice.
And yep. Another cool thing is, let's say we have a major version, we go from .3 to .4. What we do is here, we make a snapshot. So we click a snapshot, we have an ending version of this software that puts over here to the app section, where we can use any time to make a running copy to test, or if we find a bug, or let's say someone says, oh, it used to work this way, a certain way. Well, no, we can spin up a copy of that version to see how it really works in between the versions.
Very nice. So you snapshot your existing, say, 2020.2 version, and then spin up a running copy and then apply the updates to make it 2020.3. Is that
correct?
Right?
Correct. Yep.
Nice.
And that's really another beauty of this. Like you see here, our app section, we'll have different versions: 19.3, 19.4, 19.5. And let's say someone says, I want 19.2 to look at something, then we can update it to 19.3, 19.4, and see how this defect or this issue may have come to light, whether it's between versions or an after version, or it could be as simple as a setup where they're using server 2016 instead of 2019. We can pretty much get to that level where needed very quickly.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely helps the development team too. If you can narrow down exactly when that bug was introduced, that certainly helps their research.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And developers use this tool as well. If they need a certain version really fast, I need to look at a premise 2020.1. Okay, that we can spin up for them, and they can have that environment for their own. They can do any manipulation, put in debug files, anything they want to do to try to narrow it down. It's their sandbox to play with. And when they're done, we can either shut it off and wait for them to the next day, or we just get rid of it, we delete it, and done with it.
Great, that's awesome. So this is obviously a great tool for managing all different kinds of environments. You mentioned you have different regions, you have cloud versus premise, you have different versions of everything, different versions of other software that might integrate with these things. What about integrations? How do you keep track of testing the various integrations, like manage and automate, or manage and sell, or manage and other products?
Good question. We have something down here, if I can find it. We have an environment here called Manage, Automate, Base Setup. And that is an environment that we have manage, automate, sell, control, set up in one environment. And that's what we use to test the integrations. So let's say automate has a problem with the integration with manage. We'll spin it up and test it. Let's say control has a problem with a manage update, and control wants to look at an environment. We'll spin that up so they can look at it and we can update it to the version. And again, the cool thing about this is we can spin it up at a certain level and see if it worked, and update it to that version where it's not working, and sort of catch it in between the versions that will cause this.
Yeah.
And that's the most requested image that I've seen lately is, I want your base environment set up where I can test, automate, manage, and sell together. And it's really been a great help trying to narrow down these integration bugs.
Well, being a developer myself, I can tell you that I spend more time setting up the environment to actually reproduce the issue than it actually takes to actually fix the problem. So if you're cutting out all those steps for them, that has to be an enormous payoff for dev resources.
Right, we're cutting out those hours and hours of setup for a 2-minute test or a 2-minute fix.
Yep.
You know, that way we can spin it up. You can see it work in a previous version, update it to the next version. It's broken. Okay, I can figure it out in this version, put some debug files out, or whatever it takes to actually narrow it down to what the problem is.
Absolutely.
And the best thing is I could clone this and give it to a developer or give it to a QA engineer, and it's their sandbox. It's their sandbox to play with it, to do what they want to do with it, and when they're done, we can throw it away, because we have a saved image of all these in our app section here.
Very nice. So what did you use before CloudLab?
We used vCloud Director. It's a VMware tool. We used it for several years, and it was state of the art at the time, but there was a lot of issues that we had with testing using vCloud Director.
That was an on-premise tool, right? You had to run it on your own hardware.
Correct, and that was the biggest thing is our IT department had this huge monolithic hardware set up for vCloud Director. So we were relying on our IT infrastructure to support this for us. So there were times you ran out of disk space. There were times you ran out of memory. There were times you just had to power it down because there were maintenance periods. So there was actual times where I was told, you only can spin up 10 VMs today because we're low on resources. Or we have to power this down because of electrical maintenance.
Right.
Or there was a running joke that we keep running out of hard drive space. So it was like, okay, we got you some hard drives, we got to power it down and add hard drives. And this was time and time again. And it seemed like it was just something over and over again. And a lot of times I got, oh, you're just testing, so we'll work on this later. You know, it's like not a big deal. And it's not that it was our IT department's fault, it's just they had many other things they had to work on. And CloudLab sort of, when we changed tools, that was one of the biggest questions that I had was, what about the environment? What do we have to do if we need hard drives? What about hard disk space? What do we need? We need memory. And I can show you here real quick. The cool thing about this is, let's say it's running slow, I need to change something. I can change it to a bigger server, hit save, and it's done. You know, I can update the memory, I can make the processes, upgrade the processors, I can do all that. I can add drive space, I can do all that. Right from the click of a button and hit save, and I'm ready to go.
So you don't need to involve your internal IT folks at all to manage this for you?
No, Mark, I can do it all on my own, or sometimes I'll go and I'll sort of maintain these environments myself. I'll go in and see how they're running and see how they're doing. We do a lot of testing with Exchange, and Exchange seems to be the one that takes a whole lot of memory and a whole lot of CPU resources to keep it running. So that's one thing that we've been tweaking with is, okay, what do we need to have Exchange be able to send these emails to our ConnectWise managed environments in a timely manner? Or is it timing out because it can't send these massive amount of emails when we do the testing? So when we tweak it, we add the higher processors, the bigger processors, more memory. We get to a point where we tweaked it enough ourselves where we knew, okay, here's what we need for Exchange for our testing needs.
Right.
It may not be the needs that a production environment would be, but not so small where it would time out or we use all kinds of errors that we're running down bugs that weren't really bugs at all.
That's awesome. And John, please don't take this the wrong way, but would you classify yourself as a super technical person?
Not really. I mean, I pride myself to know enough to be dangerous sometimes. I can go in there and click around and figure things out, but
you're not. You wouldn't call yourself a DevOps engineer or a cloud engineer, and yet you manage all these virtual environments with ease, point and click, drag and drop.
Easy. Point and click, drag and drop is right. And sometimes I did make mistakes. Sometimes, I didn't want to do this. And I just deleted it and try it again. And one thing I want to mention is Speed of Light Media Help Desk, always responsive. It seems like they get back to me, even with something simple as a help question, they get back to me and says, here, try this or try that. And these are the experts. They know about how all this works and the technical side of things, and they've been a really great help to try to set all this up.
That's awesome. That's great to hear, John. So, John, tell me, what would you tell someone who is considering using Simplify CloudLab for their QA and test automation environments?
Yeah, I would say it's a great tool, ease of use. It's very simplistic. It does so much complex things to make it easy. And also other areas of the company use it, like consulting or support. They love these environments that are on when they need them and are off when they don't need them. It's cheap to run. So many of these different areas of our company, they contact me, says, can you set up this environment for me? Yes. So we have different divisions that we have in CloudLab. I know we have a consulting division, we have a training division, we have a support division. And each one of those and more are using Simplify CloudLab for either training or for either just demo purposes or just to something new come out, let me test it against our version of ConnectWise Manage or ConnectWise Automate or whatever the flavor may be, where they can actually spin something up and test it themselves. Or they go off to sales or consulting or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and I imagine that was very difficult to do before. Every time a new, I mean, the ConnectWise suite of products integrates with a ton of other products, hundreds of other products out there. There's no way you could possibly do all that manually and manage all those environments.
Yeah, no, not before, because it would cost, like I mentioned before, oh, we ran out of disk space, or we ran out of new hardware, or something would come up that we would have to do something different. And of course, we want to use our testing first. Okay, so others would come last. So now we don't have to do that. Okay, we have a split up, the costs are split up, so it just works out really well.
That's great. Well, thanks again for joining us, John. And again, I'm Mark LaPlante for Simplify CloudLab. Please check us out at speedoflightmedia.com if you want more information. Thank you.
Thank you.